The courtroom was tense, every wooden bench filled with restless bodies, but all eyes were fixed on the young woman standing at the defense table. Her fingers twisted together nervously, her shoulders hunched beneath a faded jacket she hadn't taken off all morning. The bailiff had just leaned in, his voice low but sharp. "Ma'am, remove the jacket before the verdict is read." Gasps fluttered across the room. She hesitated, frozen in place, knowing that beneath the fabric lay the secret she had hidden for years. "Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I love knowing who's listening." Her name was Sarah Dalton, a 28-year-old single mother who had fought her way through life with a quiet, stubborn resilience. Today, she wasn't fighting for custody of her son or a second job to pay the bills. Today, she was fighting for her freedom, accused of a crime she swore she hadn't committed. The prosecutors painted her as reckless, dangerous even, but those who knew her whispered about her kindness, her sacrifices, and her past she never spoke of. The jacket clung to her like armor, shielding her from stares and judgment. But now, under the stern eyes of the judge, she pulled it off with trembling hands. The fabric slid down her arms and revealed the ink etched across her skin. A bold tattoo sprawled over her forearm, the crest of an old military unit, marked with a name and number that most had forgotten. Most, but not the man behind the bench. The judge froze. His gavel hung midair. Silence spread like a tide, and for a moment, the air seemed to vanish from the room. His eyes locked on the tattoo, and the years rolled back. That crest was one he had seen in the dust of foreign deserts, carried by soldiers who had bled beside him. His voice cracked when he finally spoke. "Where did you get that?" Sarah swallowed hard, her heart pounding. "It's my father's unit," she whispered. He didn't come home. I got it so I'd never forget him." The words cut through the courtroom like a blade. Murmurs rose, some skeptical, some softened with sudden empathy. The prosecution shifted uncomfortably, their case papers suddenly seeming thinner, weaker. The judge's face, lined with age and memory, softened as he leaned forward. He remembered the man she spoke of, a soldier who had saved his life decades earlier, a friend whose name he had carried silently all these years, and now his daughter stood before him, accused, misunderstood, her voice trembling yet filled with the same quiet courage. The weight of the moment pressed down on everyone. Was justice blind, or could it remember? Was the law only about punishment, or about truth and mercy as well? The moral dilemma burned in the judge's eyes, and the crowd seemed to hold its breath, waiting for a verdict that felt bigger than one case. When the judge finally spoke, his words carried both authority and compassion. He recounted, briefly, the sacrifice her father had made, how he had shielded his men in battle, how his bravery had lived on in those who survived. Then, with measured finality, he announced that the charges against Sarah would be dismissed. Due to insufficient evidence and the revelation of her true character, the courtroom erupted. Whispers turned into applause, strangers nodding at one another, tears welling in unexpected eyes. Sarah, stunned, could only clutch her jacket against her chest as relief crashed over her like a wave. She thought she'd never see kindness again in this cold world of rules and judgment. She was wrong, because kindness doesn't vanish. It waits, and it finds its way back. And as Sarah stepped out of that courtroom, sunlight striking her tattoo like a badge of honor, she realized something deeper. The story had begun with her father's courage, but it was hers to continue now. Remember, no matter how heavy the judgment feels, no matter how dark the room becomes, there is always a truth waiting to shine through. If this story touched you, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you believe courage and kindness deserve more voices in this world, make sure to subscribe and join me for the next story.